Alright, we have the head bolts loosened, and we'll pull these off. And this head is ready to come off except for the cam chain. So we'll spin this motor over so you can see that. We will pull the 10mm bolts off of the cam sprocket. This here is for the guide. Cam back and forth pulling on it, and that allowed that, if I can turn this so you can see it here, allowed us to pull that cam right out of there. So there's your cam shaft, then your sprocket will be down in there. You gotta just roll that chain around and pull that off. And this head is ready to come off, so we'll just kind of hang on to that sprocket while we pull the head off. Looks like the cylinder is coming to free. A lot of times that gasket will just kind of hold those two together. So there is the cylinder head. It's got a bent valve, and so that head will need rebuilt. This cam looks good. A lot of times you'll see the lobes on there scored up pretty good. That looks good. We will pull the cylinder off here. You gotta there you go, just pull it off. All right, here is the guide here, and that's the bolt that we pulled out here. That sits down in there. That sits right in the center of the cylinder. Now we will pull that piston off. Pick here, pull the circlip out like that, and we can just push the piston pin out. And there's your piston there. We'll put the circlip back in, and you just start it one side and push on both sides there until that clip snaps into place, and you can use a pick to kind of situate it down into where it seats there. Make sure that's in that seat. If it's not, when you're going back together, it'll come out while that piston's in use, lock up your motor, or score up your cylinder, or do some damage. So make sure that it sits in that seat there. All right. Now we pull off the flywheel here, and 17mm nut here, and then we take a puller. Now this is your puller here, and this is reverse threaded, so you spin it on there this way. Then you'll want to grab this puller takes a 17mm socket on this side. You'll run this down, and that pushes against the crankshaft, pulling that flywheel off. There's your flywheel there. This flywheel's in great condition. The stator's in great condition. Then you can just spin that flywheel puller off that way. And there's your flywheel. Then we've got your stator here. Two 10mm bolts. And this gasket will hold the wires in, but we won't reuse that gasket, so we'll just pull that off of there. In this particular case is actually broke right here, so this cover is not good. So we'll pull the high and low gear off right. Tap on this case to kind of break that seal there. And there's your gear mechanism there. And we will pull some of these gears out. And we'll try to keep these gears together so they know how they came out. So we'll pull this snap ring out. That'll allow that gear to come off. Then that'll allow us to pull this case off. There's a couple other small things that we need to do yet. That gear will come off when we need to pull is a pin off this little. That'll allow us to pull this plastic gear off here. There's that one. We'll go ahead and spin it. Again, this one is broke. This case is broke right here by the shift shaft. So this case is no good, but I'll have to split the case. All right, you've got your cam chain down here. We'll finish taking that off. We've got another guide right here. And this, here's your tensioner here. Okay, so we've got your tensioner here that puts pressure on this, spins this, puts pressure on this wheel here, tightening up that cam chain. So we'll have to impact a couple of those Phillips off to get the tensioner apart. All right, those 3 Phillips are removed. We can slide all of this. There's the sprocket there. There's the tensioner wheel. And a 14mm will pull this tensioner. Flat head screw in the bottom there that we can just spin out. Spring loaded. And we'll probably have to adjust that there, remove that there. Yep, and this was a holder for that tensioner. So all of this will be a part of the tensioner. We'll remove a couple more pieces on this side. Here's the sprocket, the countershaft sprocket. And we will flip this over and start removing the clutch. A couple more Phillips here and we will have the clutch cover off. Oops. There's the clutch cover there.